Growing up as a boy, I was always looking for a male role model, someone to teach me how to live my life. Sadly, for the modern man, proper role models have become hard to come by. Young men today are confused because society is telling them different things and they don't know how to act. Many people wouldn't immediately think of movies when seeking good masculinity, but there is a trilogy that does so effortlessly. I believe that Lord of the Rings is one of the best examples of a world where masculinity is portrayed in a healthy way. What I love about Lord of the Rings is how masculinity rejects dominance and emotional suppression in favor of things like compassion, humility, and moral courage. The central positive figures are mostly men, but they're all different in personality. They are well defined by their commitment to doing what is right, not by how well they conform to expectations tied to gender. It's important to note that moral worth in these films is not measured by masculinity or femininity, but by character, intention, and choice. Rather than promoting a single dominant model of manhood, Tolkien's narratives present multiple, equally respectable ways of being male. For example, the values that shape a hobbit's identity differ greatly from those that guide a warrior of Númenórean descent, yet neither is treated as superior to the other. By giving legitimacy to these contrasting expressions of manhood, Tolkien and Peter Jackson are telling the audience there's no correct way to be a man. Rather, it's important to hold strong to your values and protect those more vulnerable than yourself. Let's look at some individual characters, starting with perhaps the best example, Aragon. Aragon is introduced in Lord of the Rings not as a king on a throne, but as a wandering ranger, weathered and quiet. Though he is the rightful heir to the throne of Gondor, he does not seek power for its own sake, instead choosing to earn authority through service, wisdom, and sacrifice. Throughout the trilogy, Aragon demonstrates a model of masculinity grounded in responsibility rather than dominance. He leads by example, listens to others, and shows deep respect for those weaker than himself. He is unafraid to express doubt, grief, or love, yet remains steadfast in moments of crisis, proving that emotional openness and strength are not opposites. He shows care and patience towards those under his protection, particularly the hobbits, guiding them through dangers they were never meant to face, while also confronting violence head-on when defending his companions requires it. His use of force is never driven by cruelty or pride, but by a deep sense of duty and love for those he serves. Rather than portraying heroism as domination or solitary conquest, Aragon's character reframes leadership as service. He does not attempt to save the world alone, nor does he pursue power for personal glory. Instead, his identity is shaped by commitment to a cause greater than himself, most clearly seen in his dedication to supporting Frodo's burden and preserving the unity of the Fellowship. Aragon's reaction to powerful women in the trilogy is also telling of his true masculinity. He is not intimidated or threatened by these women. He trusts and relies on Arwen to get Frodo to Rivendell despite the Ringwraiths hunting them. He constantly seeks and accepts her emotional guidance. He has no problem with Éowyn wanting to go into battle, despite her father and brother insisting that she should not go. And when she announces her love for him, he does not mock her or instantly reject her. He remains humble and explains to her gently that his heart lies elsewhere. Perhaps the most powerful Aragon scene for me is towards the end of Return of the King, when Aragon refuses to bow for the hobbits. Even though he is king, he does not see himself above them because he knows the harrowing journey they have been through. He knows they were ripped from their pure surroundings and exposed to the most evil forces in the world, yet they succeeded in saving it. He then sings Elendil's oath, "Out of the great sea to Middle-earth I am come. In this place I will abide and my heirs unto the ending of the world." Gandalf is another principal masculine character in the trilogy. He portrays wisdom, which is one of the most difficult and meaningful qualities a man can develop. A truly wise person offers more than clever remarks. His words reshape how others see the world, encouraging reflection and moral growth. When Frodo is overwhelmed by the burden placed upon him and wishes he could escape his fate, Gandalf reminds him that hardship is not something anyone chooses, but how one responds to it remains within their control. This kind of insight does not appear spontaneously. It grows from long engagement with a culture's stories, history and hard-earned lessons, combined with careful attention to lived experience. At moments of farewell and loss, Gandalf refuses to dismiss sorrow, recognizing that grief is not a failure of strength, but a natural response to love and loss. When Frodo speaks harshly of Gollum, Gandalf urges restraint, pointing out the limits of human judgment and warning against the temptation to assume absolute moral authority over life and death. Although Gandalf embodies the image of the elderly sage, wisdom is not reserved for age alone. Younger men can cultivate it as well, but only through patience, by learning from the past, observing the world honestly, and allowing experience to refine their understanding. When knowledge and lived insights come together, worlds gain the power to guide, heal, and quietly shape the lives of others. Gandalf also represents an interesting take on masculinity, because his strength is rooted in restraint and moral clarity rather than dominance or force. Although he possesses immense power, he uses it sparingly, choosing guidance over control. He is Frodo's guide and good friend, and at any moment he gets, he attempts to teach Frodo some knowledge of history and human nature, allowing him to see beyond immediate outcomes. Frodo is the main character of the trilogy and often understood as a figure defined by self-giving sacrifice. He is the embodiment of a pure, innocent being living in the bubble which is the Shire. He chooses to accept responsibility that was never meant for him, one that inflicts deep physical and spiritual harm and demands a cost beyond what any ordinary person should bear. Despite most of the time knowing the danger and uncertainty ahead, he willingly moves towards this darkness, carrying with himself a corrupting force he did nothing to earn. His journey is marked by suffering, isolation, and exhaustion, yet he continues in one direction, forward, fully aware that the path may end in his own destruction. When the task is finally completed, Frodo's strength is utterly depleted. He and Sam are left broken and helpless amid ruin and fire. Their bodies unable to move any further, their hope nearly extinguished. At that point, nothing remains for Frodo to give. His endurance, resolve, and will have all been spent. He has reached the absolute limit of what he can offer, having surrendered his safety, his future, and the peaceful life he once cherished. What defines Frodo's heroism is the free choice to give himself completely to a mission that demanded everything. In doing so, he demonstrates a form of courage not rooted in power, but in surrender, faith, and perseverance. At the Grey Havens, Frodo finally finds peace as he leaves the shores, shown with a genuine smile towards his fellow hobbits. Samwise Gamgee embodies one of the most enduring virtues of healthy masculinity: unwavering loyalty. His story shows that meaningful brotherhood is built on devotion and shared hardship. Strong men are capable of forming deep bonds with other men, relationships grounded in respect and care, free from embarrassment or confusion. Sam's love for Frodo is one of the most moving relationships ever shown on screen, and this love is proven through his actions. When danger fractures the fellowship and Frodo attempts to continue his mission alone, Sam refuses to abandon him. Like a loyal puppy, and without hesitation, he commits himself fully to Frodo's path, nearly drowning in the process. His choice marks a turning point. From that moment on, his life is inseparably bound to his friend's fate. What follows is a quiet promise to remain present no matter the cost. This promise is tested repeatedly as they move deeper into darkness. When Frodo is attacked and incapacitated, Sam does not flee. He steps forward, drawing strength from his devotion rather than confidence in his own abilities. Again and again, loyalty becomes the source of Sam's bravery. The truest measure of Sam's faithfulness appears at the journey's end, when Frodo is utterly spent and unable to go on. Faced with his friend's collapse, Sam does not offer empty encouragement or step aside in despair. Instead, he takes the burden onto himself, physically lifting Frodo when Frodo can no longer stand. This is a profound moment. When one person reaches the limit of their strength, another can step in and carry them forward. Sam's role in this story reflects a deeper reality of life itself. No one escapes hardship alone, and no one endures the greatest trials without help. The Lord of the Rings trilogy defined a whole era and can be called one of the best, if not the best trilogy ever made. And the best part is, we can learn from it. And we have. When I speak to other Lord of the Rings fans, friends, family members, they've all taken something deep and meaningful from these films that has personally changed them. The way I see it, Lord of the Rings is a Bible. It's a gospel filled with meaningful lessons one may choose to incorporate into their lives for the better. When it comes to masculinity, I cannot think of a better example in modern media on how to be if you are a man. These films teach us that we should take only what we need from life while dedicating ourselves to being a positive force for the world around us. It's also important to remember the lessons of Tolkien transcend sex altogether. That's why these films have captured the hearts of everyone, not just men. Respect, honor, love, humility, emotion, these are all human traits that we should never shy away from. And I am deeply thankful to both Tolkien and Peter Jackson for giving generations access to these stories. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and this was my first creation. I hope to make many more videos like this, so please do spread the word, subscribe to this channel and like the video, and I will see you next time.